Namaste everybody. It's me Krishna Prasad Paudel from Nepal Open University, MPhil second semester English education. Today we are going to talk about formal and dynamic equivalence in translation by Eugene Nida. Under this we talk about formal equivalence, dynamic equivalence and important of Nida's work. Eugene Nida's theory of translation. Eugene Nida theory of translation developed from his one practical work from the 1940s onwards when he was translating and organizing the translation of the Bible. Yeah, he is mainly known as the Bible translator. He has translated Bible in many languages and his theory is mainly based on biblical translation. He has published mainly two books which makes him popular in the field of translation. And these two books are published, first one published in 1964 and second was published in 1969. The first book is Toward a Science of Translating and the second book is The Theory of Translation. The Theory and Practice of Translation. These two books make him very popular in the field of translation. Yeah. His central idea is that in the translation, in the field of translation, what earlier believed is that the word has always a fixed meaning, but he denied it and said that word always has a functional meaning, and the meaning is always related to context and culture. Yeah. The same word may have the different meaning in different culture and different context. Yeah. The word, let's say the word मेरो पेटमा मुसा दौडिरहेको छ. How to translate it? Does it mean that rat is running inside my stomach? No. What does it mean in Nepali context? I'm so hungry. I want some food. Yeah, Nida focuses on such kind of contextual word meaning. Yeah, he had given focuses to be careful about such kind of words, and he has coined two words, yeah, two terms in translation. The first one is dynamic equivalence and second one is formal equivalence. Dynamic. The word itself has some meaning. Dynamic equivalence focuses on the sense to sense translation, not word to word sense. The example I have given earlier, मेरो पेटमा मुसा दौडिरहेको छ. What is the sense? The sense is that I am so hungry. Such kind of translation is done under dynamic equivalence, and the formal equivalence is word to word translation. The mouse is running inside my stomach. Yeah, such kind of. The dynamic equivalence focuses on the sense and the formal equivalence focuses on the syntax meaning, literal meaning. Dynamic equivalence has a sense for sense translation, translating the meaning of a phrase or a whole sentence with readability in mind. It should be readable, but it is sense for sense translation. What is the sense of the given text? Or what is the sense of given phrase, whole sentence, we have to make in mind first and then we have to translate them in the next language. On the other hand, formal equivalence as word for word translation, it is mainly literal translation. It focuses on the system, syntax, word, translating the meaning of a words and phrase in more literal way. Yeah, meaning. It focuses on the meaning and the sense, keeping literal conformity. Let's go ahead. Let's talk a little bit about dynamic equivalence. Dynamic or functional equivalence is based on what Nida calls the principle equivalent effect. The effect on the first source text language reader and the effect to the targeted language reader should be the same according to Nida. This is the dynamic equivalence. Both of them, the source text reader from the same language and the targeted text reader from the targeted language. Both of them should have the same effect after reading the text. This is the motto of the dynamic equivalence according to Nida. The relationship between receptor and message should be substantially the same as that which existed between the original receptor and the message. Let's go ahead. Dynamic equivalence aims at complete naturalness of expression. This requires adaptation of three things: grammar, lexicon, and the cultural references. He has focused mainly on cultural references. According to the cultural reference, the word has the different meaning, so we must take reference of the culture while translating any text. Correspondence in meaning must have priority over correspondence in style. We should focus on meaning according to dynamic equivalence, not the style. Form should not be here to achieve the equivalent effect in translated text. Dynamic equivalence is the quality which characterizes the translation in which the message of the original text has been so transposed into the receptor language that the response of the receptor is essentially like that of the original receptor. Another element to make the translation equivalence is the response by the source language reader, text reader, and the targeted text language reader should be the same according to the Nida. Only then we can say the translation is very good according to Nida. Response should be the same from both readers. And according to Nida, a successful translation has three things. It should make a sense, it should convey the spirit and manner of the original text, and have a natural form of expression, produce a similar response to the both of the readers. Formal equivalence. Now let's talk a little bit about this. We have already talked that formal equivalence refer to the word-to-word translation or literal translation mode. It focuses on the message itself in both form and content. Yes, form and content should be the similar between these two, source text and targeted text, according to the formal equivalence under Nida's theory. Yeah, literally and meaningfully possible. Formal equivalence is thus the quality of a translation in which the features of the form. Yeah, it focuses on the form of the source text have been mechanically, and other mechanical things also should be the same as much as possible to the receptor language. Yeah, we have to be very careful on focusing the form and mechanical things. A general tendency towards formal equivalence is the characterized by, for example, a concern for accuracy of form and accuracy of content. These two things should be in the mind of translator while translating any text under formal equivalence according to Nida. And a preference for retaining the original wording. Another thing is original or ordering wording. What is the original words in the source text should have the as much as possible same kind of wording in the targeted text. Okay, let's discuss about some differences between these two translations, formal equivalence and dynamic equivalence. Formal equivalence focuses on the message itself in both form and content. It is word for word translation. It is the receptor language. The receptor language should match as close as possible the different elements in the source language. Elements should be the same, and it is literal translation. In dynamic translation, it is sense for sense translation, not so concerned with matching the receptor language message with the source language message. It aims at complete naturalness of expression, and it relates the receptor to modes of behavior relevant within the context of his one culture. It focuses to the culture, context, and the receptor feels that it is written in his or her one context. Okay, finally, let's talk a little bit about the importance of Nida's work. He pointed the road away from strict word for word equivalence. He denied the word for word equivalence and focuses on the contextual meaning of the word. He introduced a receptor based orientation to translation theory. We should focus the receptor while translating any text. It is his theory. Nida's detailed description of real translation phenomena and situation is an important rejoinder to the vague writing of translation that had preceded it. It is a shifting, paradigm shift. It is said that earlier word to word translation was focused, but Nida's theory focuses on the new dimension. He influenced later scholars also. However, some of the scholars criticize him, not focusing on the word level and focusing on the cultural differences. Okay, thank you all of you, and thank you for listening my